Welcome to my channel. So I'm a graphic designer and I love lettering and typefaces, and in this first video I'm going to draw a full alphabet, numbers and letters. This particular alphabet, it's a bit different from the normal alphabet because it does have kind of a shadow effect. You'll see when I start drawing it, and it's actually pretty cool, the effect. Obviously it's much easier to achieve than the effect in Illustrator, just by using some gradients. But this is going to be the first letter, so let's start with the letter A. We draw a simple shape, and they are all going to have this round shape at the bottom. Well, basically at the ending of each letter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right now draw the A, and now I'm going to place the little horizontal line here, and I'm going to bring and close it right here. So as you can see, it's a different type of typeface, so it's not like the usual fonts that you can draw, the blocky ones. This has kind of a, let's just call it an animation inside of it, and makes it kind of cool, to be honest, having the just the effects of the shadows acting on each letter. It gives it a pretty cool effect, to be honest. Let's just place a little bit of the shadow here. Well, you're noticing that I'm drawing with a pen because this is the first video, so I'm not really sure how it's going to turn out, because of if I'm drawing with a pen, so I'm not sure if it's going to work or not. So I'm going to draw by using the pen. And now let's go for the B. So they all have the same height, so okay, so for the B, it should be also more or less the same type of lines. We're going to use the round corners, and let's just do something like this, and a bit of a chubby B here. Okay, so now we are going to move this part here, and this is going to be the middle part of the B, and we just do something like this, and obviously we are going to do the same here. So there you go. So something like this should be okay. I just like how the kind of the lines make the actual the actual okay, let me just put the mic. Probably I'm not sure if the mic was working or not, so okay, do it like this. The B. Now the C is also almost like a half moon, no? So now again with the round corners we do something like this, okay? And for this we are just going to make a little jump for the shadow here, and also with this part, okay? So the shadow is going to be inside on this one, and also on this part, okay, so should be okay. Now for the letter D, the same principle more or less as the B, the round corners, always the round corners, because it's an actual all of the shapes that the letters have, they are all round, so we should follow the same rules. Okay, so for the D you do a small arch like this, okay, and now for the inside I want this line again, the one that kind of cuts the letters, so I want to be something like this, and we do the same thing for the shadow. Shadow effect is always more or less the same, we just have to apply it always under or above, so something like this, okay? So now for the letter E, let's see, okay, so we do again always round corners, okay? This one is actually pretty cool effect for the E. It looks really nice actually. You're going to see the final shape for the E. It looks pretty cool. Okay, so it has the same round corners here, but now you see the middle part, I'm going to take it from here also on this side, and we close it, so we do something like this, okay? You see, now this one actually I like it a lot, it works really nice. Okay, so now see, kind of folds, no, it's almost like it kind of, it takes a bit of the E underneath and then you flip, it folds it. Now for the F, it should be also simple in the sense that it follows always the same rules, but it's let's just call it alpha E, because it just the bottom part of the leg, this leg here is missing here. So if you see it more or less, let's just do it something like this. No, it's almost like we already have an F, so we do this and kind of the leg comes down, and we do the same. We bring the little flap here, you give it more or less the same distance as the E, so it should be something similar, let's just say something like this. Okay, and then it also folds from here, okay, there you go. The F is almost there. Now for the G, it's almost like a C, but in this case, instead of doing this movement, the letter will have a vertical leg here. So we draw the same round shape, okay, and we do it something like this. And now this is the one that, let's do the outer part, maybe it's easier. Okay, now I'm going to close it in here, and this is the leg that's going to do this, you see. So, and then we can also have something like in here, for instance. That kind of looks cool too. So we always apply, it's not a proper shader I'm doing obviously, but just so you know, you understand how the actual G is supposed to look. And then and well, I'm drawing with a pen, so that's just, it's a bit different to shade, and because it's an alphabet, it takes a little bit of time to do it. So okay, so let's do the next letter, which should be the H. Okay, so the H, probably one of, well, the H and the I, well, it's the simple letter. Okay, so same thing here. Okay, we do it like this. Now we can actually, for the baseline here, for the middle, we can actually or do one a little bit lower, or we can do something a bit higher in the middle. But in this case, I'm just going to apply it in the middle. Should look nice too. So it comes from always the side in here, and does the tiny curve. Okay. And now this more or less around here, so it closes. Okay, we should, okay, something like this. Actually no, in this case actually this is the correct form. Okay, exactly, this is the correct form. So not this one, but this one here, exactly, because it was going to get really big. So small adjustment there. So it's a, you're drawing, so don't worry about it, right? The main idea is for you to focus on the actual lines, and if the lines work nicely, don't worry about it, because at the end, if you really want to change something, you're going to draw it like 2, 3, 4 more times until you get the actual shape that you want. So don't worry about these tiny mistakes that you do. Okay, so for the eye, same thing, you leave it tiny gap there, a tiny gap here, so you can do the round, proper round shape. Okay, and more or less like this. Okay, this is a pretty simple letter to do. Okay, so the letter I, it looks something like this. Okay, not bad. Okay, so for the J, J we have, because the J, the upper part, I want it to be a little bit well, not as long as the bottom part, to be honest. So eventually, let me just probably start with the bottom part, because if I don't do it, it's not going to come out as I want. So something like this, okay, the curve. Now it does the same thing here. Okay, something can be like this, and now this comes to the inside, and this one now goes up, and I can apply. The cool thing is that you can apply different cuts, no? Like if you really wanted to not to apply this one, for instance, you could have left it without it, to be honest. But it kind of works, having two or more. Like this one only has one, this one has one, the C has two, the H has one, the G has two. So I guess it's up to you to pick more or less how many you want to have here. Okay, so for the G we are done. Now for the L, it's also something really simple. Doesn't take that much time to do it. So it should be more or less the same base. So we do it like this, we bring this one down, we leave a bit of space here, and now we bring it. Try to maintain, obviously we are eyeballing everything, but try to maintain a little bit of the consistency for the size of the letters. So now you do it something like this, and now you can close it on this side here, okay, and you can shadow this area here. It's a bit hard when you're trying to to apply the shadows, because I have to maintain this the video in and the sheet of paper under this part of the camera, so I'm always trying to adjust. It's not easy, to be honest, to do the shadowing, but okay, let's do it. Okay, now for the M, same thing here. We do it a small leg, something like this. Okay, the M, because it's symmetrical, sometimes it doesn't come out well or nice, no? So this, before I do the leg, I'm probably going to already do this, the flap, like this. I can come in here and apply it like that. Okay, so now the bottom leg for both. Okay, so here it is, the M. Also, I'll probably, after I finish the full alphabet, I'll try to just add a little bit of let's just say texture to the letters. So it kind of looks, let's just say, a little bit more appealing, I guess. So MN, let's see. Okay, same leg here. Okay, now the N should come more or less like this, and then the other one, let's okay, let's do this. bottom part. The other one must have this curve also, and it defines where the other vertical leg is going to. So let's do it like this. Okay, now the flap on this one folds in here, and the end is that. Actually, it looks pretty cool. I kind of like it, to be honest. It doesn't look bad. So, since I'm eyeballing everything, so. And the cool thing is, as I said before, you can actually apply in different sections of the letter. So, for instance, in this case, if you didn't want to apply it in here, you just have to connect these two here. But in this case, it kind of looks cool because it creates more or less this type of effect in here, and at the end, it looks pretty nice. It gives it a bit of a well, it's more organic, I guess, when you look at it. Okay, now for the O. The O is pretty straightforward. I just have to, let's see how perfect the circle comes. Not bad. Not bad, to be honest, huh? Okay, now for the inside. Okay, so this one is also easy. It's almost like an iris. Okay, you do it like this. You do it like this. Okay, so let's define a bit the lines of the letter, and shadow a bit here. I call it shadow, but it's just reinforcing this area, to be honest, because the shadow, it does need a bit of a diffuse, which is not happening really strong in this case. Okay, now the O. There was a game with this, something like this. I don't remember, actually. Yeah, well, let's see if someone in the comment section can remember which was the game that had this O. Okay, now for the P. Here we go for the P here. Okay. Following more or less also. It's not the same, but it does follow the same shape. In this case, I'm going to bring it a bit like in here, and now a bit longer P, like a flag. No, like in here. It's almost like an eye, you know. I just bring this area here. This one I had it up. This one I bring it down, so it kind of opens up a bit. So it's an eye, more or less. And then we need to, or I can do it like this. So using the same rule that I applied in here, or I can flap it like this, more or less like this one. You see, it comes from here and comes from here. It doesn't come from the opposite sides, right? Because this one comes from the opposite sides. This one comes all from the same direction, like the B. The B is also opposite side. So in this case, I kind of like it like this. So no, because now it flows up there. That looks cool. Okay, now the inside, because if we don't add the inside, maybe it's not perfectly understandable, the shape of the letter. Okay, doesn't look bad. Okay, no, small shadow here. Eventually add something in here. Bring it up. Okay. Looking nice. Now for the Q. See if we have space in here. I think we have space. Okay, so almost like an O. At least this one. Okay, so but in this case we need to add the little thingy here like this. Okay, and now the same on the inside, right? Okay, like this. Now we apply the iris. It's called iris now. The iris effect. Okay. Round shapes are always hard. Always hard. Okay. I try to disguise this area here a bit more. So, yeah. Okay, this one I don't like it too much, but you kind of see the difference between this one and this one. Just this leg here kind of does its job, I guess. Okay, so for the R now. Okay, the R is also pretty nice. It's more or less like the P, because at the end you're going to add the little leg here and you transform one letter into another one, to be honest. And also with the I here, so with the EI, so sorry, basically the same thing, right? Where you expand it a little bit down and the right side, and then you create this area. For the R, it's basically the same thing. You're going to maintain the same structure of the letter, but you just add the little thingy there. It seems that I missed something in here. I'm just going to add that the one uh, the 1 millimeter 1 centimeter here, because if not it's not going to come out properly. Let me just do it right now. Okay, so as a distance 1 millimeter, and then I'm using 3 if I'm not mistaken, so it's 3. I'll do 3 here. Okay, let's apply the same. Okay, 1 and then 27. Okay, in here. So now I'm going to place the line here, and the other one should be here. Okay, and I'm going to, if I can find my here it is. So I'll erase this one. Because it's better if you have the lines. It's good because in this case you can structure the whole composition, size, how thick they are, how big they are, how large they are. So it's nice. So in this case you can maintain more or less almost like 2 fingers for each letter. You see, well, eyeballing again, but hey. Okay, this line probably has to, well, these 2 lines, yes. I'll have to delete, erase them, so doing it live, doesn't matter. So this case. Okay, so QR, so the R, again, using the same principle used for the P, we do the same thing. We use more or less the same size, and you'll see that it's basically the same, and that's kind of cool. So you do the flop here, and you bring it down in here. Okay, so now we have the same concept that we used previously, and now you can maintain the same structure in here, or you can do this one. Probably for this one I'm going to do something different, because it does look a little bit like this, and we don't want it, to be honest. So yeah, let's do something like this. Okay. We bring it this way. Okay, now we do the inside hole, and now we want to maintain the leg inside of more or less this shape. So we do it like this. Okay, and now we apply. Okay, and so we have here the R, and we can also add the shadow under this flap, and eventually in here we can also, if the light comes from above, we can add also in this area. Okay, so this is going to be the R, something like this. Now for the S. The S follows more or less the same structure of an E, because it has the vertical line here, and then it goes down diagonally and comes back to the side. So we start by drawing the side part here. Okay, we close it more or less like this, and for instance this, we let me just see if I can do it something like this. Okay, because the inside part has to match this area here. So if I do something like this, no, yes, like this. Okay, so we now can round it here and do the same procedure, as basically it's half-half, it's basically the same letter, it's mirrored. So in here we can add the shadow, and we also have the shadow in here. Okay, so should be something like this, the S. Okay, now for the T. Okay, we eyeball the distance as always. Don't forget we are drawing, it doesn't really matter. So the T, let's say one comes from here, the flap comes from here and here. So we do something like this. Okay. Okay. It's not perfect. As you can see, it doesn't match properly. But in this case, what matters is if the actual shape of the letter is here. Okay. So for the U now, again, always leave a tiny gap at the upper part. And now we can round the shape. This is one of those shapes that you can draw it like any other letter, as in like it's a normal thing, right? So we're doing something like this. It looks like a normal letter now, but then you add the effect later. So in this case, I'm going to add it like this, okay? And we add the shadow always in this position, okay? So it's supposed to always come to one side like this, okay? Now for the V it needs to be something like this, and goes up, and again does this inside shape, and this one we can, the left side we can almost like bring it, because this one closes it, right? So we can do something like this, okay? So now with the V and now for the W, let's see if I have the space for everything here. Okay, so for the W, it's almost like a double V, obviously. So we can replicate this area and then we can just mirror it to the other side. Okay, so W in here, and then we can come around, yeah, around here, I think. If we draw the middle part around here, let's just say here, yeah, should be nice. Should be okay here. Let me just, okay, something like this. Also here it has the bottom, because after all it's almost like a tube, no? And from here I can draw the other part, something like this, okay? So we now have the shadow. We can just fix a bit, because the symmetrical shapes are a bit harder when you're trying to drawing. It's not easy to achieve the actual result that you probably are looking for, but at the end it does do the purpose of you know, trying to figure out the shape and the proportions of the letter, so you can apply everything that you feel like it's going to enhance the actual letter, no? So you do this, the shape, So you have the base for it, and then you start to enhance the letter, adding stuff to it, trying to, putting some value to the actual letter. Let's just say composition, you could say it. And although it's a letter, it's not a composition, but still. Okay, so for the X right now, it should be something like this. Okay, see, from here I'm going to immediately cut it like this, because this one's going to something like this. Okay, because this one go down, so something like this. Okay, should be more or less on the same line. It's not right there, but it's something like this. Okay. So in this case, this one has to come from the inside here, because it should follow the same line here too. Same happens with the other leg. Okay, and this position, and this one just whoop, goes up. Okay, so the X should look a bit like this. This kind of letter it gets a bit more intricate, because you do need to position better the lines, because then you stop having straight lines like this, and you probably have like this, and one goes down like this. For instance, it should be like the upper part like this, and the bottom part like this, because then if you do one like this and then the other, you change the angle, it doesn't work and it doesn't look cool. So try always to maintain the same angle when you do them. Okay, okay, the X is done. Now for the Y, we do the same lines as the last three, and we do, it's basically like this, right? If you take it away, this is the Y almost, no? So this one is the one that goes down, and now this one I could do the leg on the right side, the left side, sorry, or a straight and a vertical shape. I think I'm going for the vertical shape, something like this. I prefer it, to be honest, something like this. Looks more modern, I guess. No. So in this case, the shadow also, we should apply it in here, and it looks okay-ish, doesn't look bad. Now for the Z, it's basically the S on the opposite side, so as you might imagine. So we do the same thing here, we bring it in here, and then we bring it down. This one does the curve because it has to be, because it's the outside, it's not the inside that should match this one, right? So the outside gets a little bit to the inside part of this section, and then we look like this, right? This is the bottom part. Now we take from here and we go around and we complete the Z. Actually, actually came out much better than the S. The S it's two block at least. This one does have a little bit of a kind of organic. They do look the same obviously, but still, so like these corners here, they're a bit more round. This one was a bit more kind of forcing the connection there, but this one is a bit rounder. I prefer like this. It does look nice. Okay, so for the alphabet, we are done. Now we are going to do the numbers. I think I have spacing here. Let me just in case. Not sure if I can put the 9 numbers here. If not, I'll just try to reproduce the rest under. Okay, so for the 0, we can change a bit the iris effect, because after all it's just another ball shape, no? So if we draw it something like this, okay. Now for the inside, it's the same thing. In this case, this one was to one side and to the left and right. We did the same here. In this case, I'm going to do something more or less like the C, but coming from the back like this. No? Okay, and like this. Okay, so we add the missing shadow. Okay, so this should be the number 1, number 0, sorry. Now for number 1, it's almost like, it's basically like the eye. So for this one, we do something like this. Okay, we draw the leg, and the leg should do this fold. So this is the 1. Now for the 2, so we don't do something as this with a tiny leg. We're going to increase the base, we're going to increase it slightly, so we do the 2, the upper part of the 2 here. We then do the same, it's the same principle. In this case, I'm going to move it immediately to the inside. Okay, so now I do something like this, and now instead of doing this part smaller, I'm going to do it much bigger. Okay, so it should be something like this. Okay, see, it has a bit of a weight on it in the external part of the 2. The Z and the S are a bit more proportional size wise, and this one is a bit different. Now if we do the 3 is more or less like the E. It's basically the same thing, you just need to flip it, to be honest. So we do something like this, and we have the part that defines the 3. In here, inside. The middle should be something like this. Okay, something. Okay, something like this. It doesn't look bad. I was expecting a bit of a different shape, but it should work like this. Okay, the 3. Sorry for the noise, I'm not sure if you are listening. Okay, so now for number 4, let's do something like this, because it's like an old 4, no? Like something big, chubby, and then we do the tiny, like I like it. It's almost like it's a compressed letter now. So this one comes here, and the tiny, tiny leg, and we can take the flap for the 4 in here, and we go up. So it's almost like the H and the P, where you can decide where the flap, it goes both sides in a symmetrical way, or it can come from the same direction. No, so you are the one who decides where the actual flap should fold, basically. No. Okay, so number 4 is done. Now for 5, a bit more blocky, this one too. So let's do it like this. Okay, now 5, we can do a chubby belly like this. Okay, so it works nice, and then we can bring it like this, and immediately we put it inside. Okay, so you do it like this. You should have more, ideally you should have the same size, like this part here should have the same, but again, it's just drawing and having fun with what you're doing too. So you just try to find the shape that you want for the letter, and you do it. So now for the I'm not sure if I have one for eventually. Yes, I do have space. Oh, nice. I didn't expect to have the actual size for it. So okay, so we give 1 centimeter here, just so I can have some space for letters to breathe. Okay, we do something like this, and now for the bottom part we do the same. Okay, so we have the last section for the letters. We are 4, so we have 4, 5, so we have 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so 5. Now for number 7. Number 7 is pretty straightforward too, something like this. We can flip it, and as you can see, this is pretty fast to achieve the 7 there. Okay, 7 is done. Now number 8. Number 8 is a chubby letter, a chubby number. Now, so let's do something like in here, because I want the upper part of the 8 to be a little bit chubbier than, no, less chubbier than the bottom part. That's what I want. Okay, so I'll do something like this. Okay, so this is going to be the upper part, and then a chubbier okay, so should be more or less it's not, but okay, it's yeah, it's a bit more or less like that, but that's okay. So we do like this for the upper part, and then we close the gap in here, and this should be something like this. Okay, now don't forget that the 8 has the 2 holes inside, and you have to maintain the same line here as in here. So in this case it does create the effect of an 8. If not, if you start moving and taking the certain pieces of the number to one side or the other, you might not actually get the desired effect for it. Okay, so the 8 is done too, and now for the final 9 we should be finishing something in this matter. Okay, the 9 no, the 9 needs to be no, I'm sorry, because the 9 needs to be a little bit like something like this. Okay, so now it goes the bottom part. Okay, and the leg, we close it like this, and now we can define the outer part something like this. Okay, and let's do one more thing. Okay, and now we need to add again the actual hole, because if we don't have the hole for the letter, then it doesn't look like the actual letter. So a number in this case, because we're drawing numbers. Okay, so well, we have finished our alphabet. So we do have all of the letters, okay, then the numbers, and then what you can do actually is, for instance, you can add texture to the inside of the letters. When I say texture, is something like this. For instance, you can add some straight lines here, and it will give a different feeling to the letter, you know. So even the actual shape for the shadow, no, it probably blends better when you do it like this. Let's do for the J. We do the same thing, it's the same principle. In this case, I'm actually looking at something that I want to try it. Not sure if I leave it like this or not. Could be interesting leaving it like this. So, okay, so shadow, you work a bit, the areas, the corners, something like this. Okay. And it kind of transforms a bit the actual letter. No, it gives a different feeling for it. Okay, do the same thing here. And that's it, right? So you do have the different kind of look and feel for the letter. No. Okay, so basically this was it. So I hope you enjoyed. It's a full alphabet. I'll probably going to be doing more alphabets, like, well, not like this, but let's try something different. And eventually, I'll in other videos I'm going to write like sentences or words using this type of lettering by doing an alphabet and then writing something. Probably it's going to look cool. So just keep an eye for the channel. I hope you enjoy and you subscribe. Well, click the like button and well, we'll see you next time. Cheers.